Hi, this is Karen McNall and I'm with inspiredbygraham.com, and today I'm going to bring you another craft fair series for 2019, and this is magnets that I offer in my crafts booth. So I do sell a lot of magnets, and when I mass produce at least 100 at a time, just because you're going to save so much time by mass producing that much of a quantity rather than say 25 at a time. Plus you'll have a lot of extras that you can just put in as you sell them throughout the day. So let's talk about the products. I'm going to zoom in so you can kind of see these. I don't know how it's going to look on camera, but this is, I think, my best batch I've actually ever made. So I used the designer series paper from Stampin' Up, Petal, Promenade, and it's really beautiful paper with peonies and all different kinds of flowers. So let me just bring in a couple here that you can, hopefully you can see. This is like a peony with some little cabbage here. And then this one's really pretty. It's a bouquet of flowers here. So you never really know who your customer will be. I find that I sell mostly to females, but I also do sell to men, and I also do sell to children. So I always like to have my magnets. I display them on this magnetic board here. It's from Quartet. And I also make magnets that gear towards children. So let me show you what I mean about that. And I'm just going to get this out of the way just because it could be glaring, and I don't want you to suffer through that. So what I do for children is either you can use some designer series paper, or what I simply do is I find these stickers at the Dollar Tree, and I punch out with a 1 1/4 inch circle punch piece of matching cardstock or something dark, and then I just stick the sticker onto the cardstock, and then I'll glue this onto the clear gem. So that's how I kind of do the version of kids. I got the superheroes here, and I got Mickey and Minnie Mouse here, and all those Disney characters there. So that's what I do for children. And guys, I just kind of try to do like trees or something like that. So, but anyway, let me try to go over the products that you'll need to create the magnets. Okay, so you will need, I use Modge Podge, and this is gloss finish, 32 ounces. I've had this for a couple of years, and I've probably got maybe 1/4 of it left, but this lasts for a long time. Okay, and it's glue, but it dries clear if you have never used it. You will also need some E6000 glue to secure your magnets down. You'll also need some disinfectant wipes, and these are just from my local Hannaford supermarket. Also need some scissors with that are very sharp, and these are the paper snips from Stampin' Up. You'll need a 1 1/4 inch circle punch. This is the old style from Stampin' Up, but it still works perfectly fine. You'll need some magnets, and we'll go over the magnets in just a little bit, and these are the ones I use. You will also need and this is a 1 inch sponge paintbrush, and you'll need some fancy paper, and this is just the paper I've punched out from other projects that I make, and the clear gems. So let's talk a little bit about the gems. So I found these the size that I use. I have found them these are from Michael's, and these are from the Dollar Tree. They're exactly the same. The only thing with the Dollar Tree versus Michael is what I found in my area, and my area could be totally different than yours, but these I purchased at Michael's with a 50% off coupon, and I paid $1.99. So, and there was 26 in the container, so that's 8 cents a piece. These at the Dollar Tree, sometimes they were 20, sometimes they were 21, I think maybe 22 at one point, for $1. So it pretty much is 5 cents for a gem. So Dollar Tree, for me, I'm saving 3 cents. So whenever I can save, I'll save. So, and really they're about the same. Both batches, once in a while, will have kind of like a defective gem. So let me show you what I mean by that. And it won't make a good magnet. and I don't even know if you can see this, but it's kind of like cracked, and on the top here it's kind of sharp here where it must have in shipping kind of like broke off. So I will not sell that. I'll just throw it away, or just use it in like a plant container or something. So just once in a while you will have to discard some of them. So you'll need, let's see, what else do we need? I think we got everything covered there. So let me just bring in some of the paper I used here. And as you can see, I've already punched out some of them here from, this is a Petal Promenade paper. But what I do when I am searching for a piece of paper that's gonna work for a magnet is I just put my circle punch in here, and I just try to find a lot of different things that may look, for me, good on a magnet. So I like this because it's got the little buds here and the two different coordinating flowers. So I'll just punch that out. And then again, we'll do the same thing. You know, I'll just use a whole sheet of paper and just go through. I keep this punch on my desk all the time, so when I'm making other projects, I'll have it handy so I can just punch these out, because like I said, I make hundreds of magnets and sell them. And like something like this, it'll still work because it's got all that shading of gray, but I'm capturing those roses there and those buds. So that one will work as well. On the back side, this won't work so much because it's just too boring in my eyes. All right, so on my desk, I have this little container here that I just store them in. And when I'm ready to make magnets, I'll have them all ready and ready to go. So I've got some over here as well. I'll work with that one today because that one's really pretty. But see, for the kids, it's just so super easy. So just make sure you have a variety for all your customers, because like I said, you'll never know who your customer may be. Okay, so let's bring in, oh yeah, so I didn't go over this one. So this is the brand that of they're glass gems that I purchased from the Dollar Tree. I'll have all the information in the informational box on below the video here, but these are called glass gems, decorative accents, and there's 14 ounces. So Dollar Tree here, and these are Ashland brand. So I will link both of those in the description box. You'll need a container, put your Modge Podge in, and I just use this one. I reuse it. See, this is there's some excess glue in here that dried from last night. It's perfectly fine to use. You'll need some wax paper because I find that's the easiest. So usually I'll have like one in front of me here, one off to the side. So that's where the finished magnet is going to go, because, you know, Modge Podge is pretty sticky. All right, so let's bring in the Modge Podge. And sometimes that is hard to open, but I want you to know that you don't need a lot. So in your container, only put a little bit, like that's all I would do. And when I'm mass producing 100, I will go through probably, 2 times that much, but I don't like to have a lot in my container at once because you don't want a lot. It just gets super messy is all I can say. So let's go over the first step you'll need to do. So when you get your gems, they're not clean. They're definitely not clean. There's a film on them of some sort. So that's why I like to use the disinfectant wipes, not the like the baby wipes, but the disinfectant wipes, because they have some alcohol in it. So that alcohol does do a really good cleaning job. So I just like to clean them, and I have a bowl going usually, and once I get them all clean, I just put them in there. So, I've got 100 all clean, ready to go. So that's all clean. And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna Modge Podge it. All right, so what I do is I just dip my little brush in here in this little container here. Maybe just bring it in the picture, and I flip it over, and I just put some Modge Podge on the back of this gem here. Okay, and now I set it down, and then I just add a little bit of more Modge Podge on the side that's going to be shown on the magnet or the gem. Okay, and then I'm gonna flip it over, and then I'm gonna turn it over, and I'm just gonna press down like this. Okay. And it's going to, a lot of times if you have excess glue, it's going to stick to the, it's going to just stay to the wax paper. So then I'm just going to take your Modge Podge, I'm going to dip it in the brush, and with the Modge Podge, make sure you're going in the correct direction. So I always go down. All right, so I know I'm getting the edges here, and then I'll turn it, rotate it, and I'll go this way. So I'm just kind of just continuously going like this and this until I feel like there's enough on there. And don't worry that it's oozing on the edges here, because that'll be perfectly fine. All right, so that's done. So I would continue to do that. Let me just do that step one more time. I bring another one in. So I'm just gonna put the Modge Podge there. And let me find paper here. I'm just take one out. I'll just do this orange pretty paper here. And again, we're just gonna Modge Podge it. So you can see why mass producing, you wanna do each step, you know, as you go. So 100 of these. Flip it over, and then just gonna put the Modge Podge down again and go both ways. Whoops. All right, let's start that over again. Okay, now if you notice sticking over the edge a little bit, because this gem's not, you know, they're never perfectly round. So I'll show you how to fix that in the next step. So what you do is you set those aside, and you have to let them set aside for a few hours to dry, depending on how warm or how cold your house is. Now, I live in Vermont, and we kind of are on the colder side right now. We wish it was 80 degrees, but it's not. So I had to let them set for like 4 or 5 hours, and then I redid the Modge Podge. But I want to show you on this one, I saved this one so you could see this little piece of paper here is over the edge. So this is where I bring in my paper snips. And all I do is simply just cut around here so it's not exposing. And you just kind of just run your scissors up and down, and there you go. So it doesn't really matter. You can kind of see where I trimmed a little bit, but it's okay. The only big thing is all those little pieces of paper kind of go everywhere. So I use a bowl, and then I'll dump the bowl of all the scraps. All right, so then the next step is, this one's already got one coat of Modge Podge on it, and all my lines on the Modge Podge are going the same way. And I'm gonna just simply give it one more coat, like this. Okay, and then we're gonna set it aside and let it dry for another, like, probably in the next day. Okay, you can do it, you could set it aside for another 4 hours and then put your magnets on. It's up to you. All right, so the next step, we're fast forwarding 24 hours after we've got the 2 coats of Modge Podge on, and these are all ready to have magnets put on here. Okay, I've already cut them, prepped them. They've all got 2 coats of Modge Podge. Okay, so let's work with this one here. And I like to use double-sided paper because it just looks so much nicer. So let me just bring one in here that I have finished. So when you flip it over, you always have pretty paper on the back side. So that's what I like about the double-sided paper from Stampin' Up. And it's thin. It's not the super thick paper. You gotta be careful about that too. I always like to use the thinner paper. All right, so let's actually work with this one because it's got a nice little background to it. All right, so now the magnets, they are all stuck together, so I like to just like unstick them and just put like 10 or 12 on my desk. And right now we're just gonna do 3 of them. And I'm just looking for my E6000 glue, and this stuff kind of like oozes out all the time. So you gotta be careful with your glue. And you wanna make sure that when you're done with it, the barrel is clean, because I have to use a lot of times some pliers to open it up. So all you're gonna do is actually just put a little dab of glue there, and then just flip it over and press it down. Some's gonna ooze out over the edges, but that's okay. So this one's ready, and I'm not gonna touch it for like maybe a day or 2. All right, so let me just do that again. I'll bring in this nice little butterfly one and the flower one here. So again, I have them all lined up usually, and it goes pretty fast. Just put a good movie on or watch a basketball game. That's what I was doing this weekend, watching the basketball game. And you're good to go. Oh, I did forget to mention, after that second coat of Modge Podge, you do want to clean your magnets again, because you will have some glue on there. So that's another thing I use the Disinfectant Wipes for. So I think I've covered everything for you today. I hope you give this a try. So how I price them for my market, and this is just my market, you could totally go higher or lower, but this has worked for me for the last like 5 years. I sell my magnets for $1 a piece. Basically, I have about maybe 25 cents, if that, into the magnet. So my profit's pretty good. So I sell them $5 or $1 a piece, or 6 for $5. All right. So some people do, you know, sell magnets, I've seen, and they put them in a package and all that. I let my customer pick out the ones that they want. And usually I'll have this thing full, and I'll also have a bowl right next to it because people like to thumb through all the magnets. They just love them. And I also, like I said, I believe I said in the beginning of the video, is I put them on the end of my table. So it draws people into your booth. Especially kids will see the, you know, the glaring and the prettiness of all the magnets, and they just like get drawn into the magnets, and then they'll go through your booth and just buy a bunch of stuff. So anyway, I hope you learned something new today. Again, give it a try and let me know how you do. If you sell some magnets, I'd love to know how you do selling them. So for any of your supplies I used today from Stampin' Up, you can visit my supply store at inspiredbygram.com. Thanks for watching, and I hope you learned something new. Bye-bye.